Welcome everyone. This is a recorded version of the Color the Spectrum Community Grants Letter of Intent information session. My name is Patricia Wright and I'm really happy to be going through this information with you. The agenda that I'll be moving through the content is that I'll give a little bit of background on the Color the Spectrum Community Grant Program, that I'll be discussing eligibility for the Letter of Intent, additional requirements, the grant categories, the letter of intent application itself, timing for the letter of intent, the frequently asked question support, and additional supports that will be provided by Next for Autism. So a little background on Next for Autism. Our mission is that we transform the national landscape of services for people with autism by strategically designing, launching, and supporting innovative programs. On April 30th, Jimmy Kimmel and a former NASA engineer and YouTube creator Mark Rober hosted a 3-hour-long live stream event to raise money to support Next for Autism. The event was held exclusively on YouTube. The funds from the Color the Spectrum event will be used by Next for Autism to support the transition from school to adulthood in the following 3 areas: work, home, and social. And we'll go through each of those categories later in this presentation. In addition, Next for Autism will be restricting some of the funds to support Autistic Led Organizations. So again, some of the funds are reserved for supporting Autistic Led Organizations. Autistic Led Organization is defined by an individual with autism as the head of the organization. For example, the CEO, executive director, or other like executive leadership position, or more than 50% of the organization's board of directors is autistic. Again, Next for Autism is really excited to be championing and supporting autistic-led organizations. Some of the general eligibility requirements is that an organization has started or will be starting innovative programs, services, systems, or models of service delivery that make improved outcomes likely. That the organization can demonstrate program sustainability and measure impact. Sustainability could be several different ways. It could mean that the program maintains after the grant program funding ends, or it can imply that the effect of those served by the grant maintain a positive impact beyond the grant's funding. Preference will be given to those programs that serve the underserved. Some additional requirements, again, are that targeted funds from Color the Spectrum are reserved for autistic-led and centered organizations and initiatives. Organizations must have 501c3 nonprofit status. We will also accept a fiscal sponsor as that nonprofit, so we will accept a fiscal sponsor. Support requested should benefit autistic individuals. Grants may not be used for capital cost. Capital costs are typically for buildings or construction. Next for Autism prefers program-specific requests. We, of course, will support staffing and all those other things that are necessary for program-specific, but we really do like to focus on a specific program. Preference will be given to programs that utilize an evidence-based methodology. That is not a specific methodology, simply that we prefer programs that have some scientific information that they are effective. All grantees will be required to file a grant report providing feedback to Next for Autism, and that grant report will require specific measurable outcomes. We may require a site visit, and the advisory grant committees will evaluate the full proposals and provide recommendations to the Next for Autism board regarding funding. And finally, preference will be given to qualified programs that will also expand the geographic diversity of our grants. We are looking to have a nationwide footprint with this program, and preference will be given to those who serve low resource populations. We received some excellent feedback that some of the vocabulary in these requirements would benefit from a plain language definition. That plain language definition is on our FAQ page if you're looking for further definitions of some of these vocabulary in the additional requirements. The grant categories, again, are home. We know that there are thousands of autistic adults that need of quality living environments. We're looking for individuals who are interested in designing and developing and maintaining high quality living environments. We also know that autistic individuals experience under and unemployment. Grants in this area should address the need for autistic adults to gain and retain paid employment. And we're also aware that disconnection and isolation are not uncommon for autistic adults. And we're looking for grants in this area that should support autistic adults to make connections, increase belonging in relationships, and establish friendships. The letter of intent application, we are utilizing SurveyMonkey Apply because of its accessibility features and to ensure that everybody is able to successfully access the letter of intent application. The URL for the application is there. It's much easier simply to go to our website and click on the hyperlink, but we did want to supply the URL for where that application is. When you enter that URL, you'll be taken to the page. You're now just looking at the actual screenshots of what this will look like. For SurveyMonkey Apply, you must register if you are not already registered with SurveyMonkey Apply. So you see that red circle in the top right corner. You will need to register your information in the platform to be able to access the letter of intent application. Once you do that, you'll be entered into entering the information for the letter of intent. I'll walk you through each request. The first is simply the name of the organization that's applying, your tax ID number, and your 501c3 eligibility. That's a drop down of a yes, no, and again, we will accept a fiscal sponsor. The main office address, including the city, state, and zip code. The phone number of the organization, and the website URL if it is available. This is the only component of the LOI that is not required. A website address. If you don't have a website yet, it's fine. You can just leave this blank. The following screen will be asking for the main point of contact, who we should contact regarding this letter of intent. Who's the main point of contact? Their title, their phone number, and their email address. So this would be who would be requesting additional information from should we need it, and also who would be following up with regarding the letter of intent. Next question is a yes, no. Is the organization autistic led? Simple drop down. And then the name of the proposed grant program, the title for your proposed grant program that you're inquiring about for this LOI. Then select the grant categories. You can select one or more of the focus areas for the grant: home, work, and school. If you are addressing just one area, select one, but you can select one or more of these. And then the grant amount requested, up to $25,000. Please know it is our intent to have $25,000 grants. There's no need to try to, adjust your budget to come in under $25,000. Our intent is that these are $25,000 grants, so please don't hesitate to apply for the full amount. And then there are 3 narrative questions, small word limits. So an organizational background, including the mission, objectives, and history, 100 words. Again, just looking for a brief narrative of your organization. And this one has a 200-word limit of a program description. This is the program that's what you're specifically applying for the letter of intent. So describing your program, for what you're seeking funding, its benefit to the autistic community, include a brief scope of the project, and again, a 200-word limit. And then program innovation, how the program is innovative. Again, a 100-word limit, just talking about Next for Autism. Our tagline is around innovation. We really are looking for people who are creative and doing innovative work, and so we'd like to hear a little bit about how your program is innovative. And the final components of the letter intent, we just want to highlight this. You need to do 2 steps in SurveyMonkey. You must mark as complete and then click the submit button. So there's 2 steps. Once you get all of that content in, mark as complete and then click the submit button. Upon submission, you will receive an email. So to whoever that email registry was for the SurveyMonkey, you will receive an email upon the grant submission. So you'll know you've entered it. And you can edit your submission up until the close date of August 1. So you can go in and out of the program as often as you want prior to August 1 to update your content and ensure your information is exactly as you want it. So no worries if you click that submission button and then you want to go back and change it. Absolutely available to you. And the timing, the LOA application opened on May 28th. It will close on August 1st. And we will select LOI applicants to move on to full proposal stage in fall of 2021. So everyone will receive notice whether you've been invited to submit or if your process is terminated at the LOI stage. Everyone will receive notice in fall of 2021 about that, where their letter of intent landed. We do have a frequently asked questions page. We encourage you to look at that. We are updating it as we receive feedback. It's wonderful. We've gotten lots of feedback from the community about what would be helpful. So we continue to update our FAQ page. So again, we encourage you to take a look at there for the FAQs. But we also have a dedicated resource to support applicants. So you can email us at grants@nextforautism.org. Contact us directly at our phone number, 212-759-3775. Again, we really want this to be a supportive process. We want to rule people in, not out. So please know that we welcome the opportunity to answer your questions directly and address any questions you have about the current letter of intent. And I thank you for attending and learning about our Cultivate the Spectrum Community grants, our letter of intent, and we look forward to receiving the letter of intent from your organization.